All right, so today we're going to look at this cool effect. So I'm assuming with Photoshop, because Photoshop being a video editor, is that they took a photo and they put filters on it and then did some graphic artwork on it to make it look like these are like feathers, but it's probably some sort of painted feather, and then they got some effects on her face. They redrew her face. It's quite possible that this is not a photo, that it's just straight up illustration. Somebody drew it, but I'm assuming that it started off as a photo and that they just put effects on it. So I don't know. Let's learn about the effects today. So I've opened this window up. Let's go work on our selfie. So find your selfie. Here's my original selfie. So I got my original selfie. I don't know. I could go back and forth between these tabs, just to kind of compare, but that could get a little frustrating after a while. So I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to go to Arrange, and then here I have the option of opening up my different tabs and having them together. I can go to there, but I don't like that look. So let me go back here. I'm going to do it. Let's look at vertical. Okay, there's vertical. Okay, I like vertical, but the problem is over here is that I've got to scroll to see the whole picture. Let me go to the magnifying glass. I'm going to do a right click, fit on screen, but it's still not working. So because it's not recognizing that this screen is in half. So I'm going to zoom out, right click, zoom out. I can always come down here and I can change the percentage there. So now I've got that. Okay, so I can work with that. Over here, I'm going to change the focus over here. See, if I click on it, it changes the focus. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit right to there. Okay, so that looks a little better to me. So I'm going to come back to this side. I went to the Move tool, and then I'm here. I don't like working on my original image. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a duplicate layer. I'm going to right-click, duplicate layer, and I don't know, we can call it background copy. There it is. I'm going to turn off my original. It's locked already, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. So that way, if something grotesquely happens, I've still got my original that I can go back and refix if I need to. This is just how I like to work. Think of this as your work process. So let's come over here. Right now, if I go to the filters, is that I have all of these filters that I can put on my layer, okay, but it affects the entire layer. Okay, I don't really want to affect the whole layer. So right now I just really want to affect just my selfie, not the background. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to pick a lasso. I could try to do it with the magic wand. With the magic wand, I could just come through and I could select, and you hold the shift key down. See, when I press the shift key, it does a little plus sign. Okay, so I can add more. Okay, I can adjust my tolerance to try to grab more, but you still see I'm missing some stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose, because I want to select all this background and I want to cut myself out, and so that way I can paste myself. So I'm just going to go with the polygon lasso. I'm going to outline my body with the polygon lasso as close as I can. Just going to do this real quick. Okay, so I've got two ways that I can do this. I can either lasso the background. I can lasso myself in inverse. So there's just different ways, that I can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lasso the background. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to select inverse. That's going to select myself. I'm going to go to edit, cut. Okay, so I've cut myself off of this layer. I'm going to go to edit, paste. And what that did is that added me back in. Now let's step back. Okay, step backward doesn't undo. Let's go back to edit. Let's look at paste special. Paste in place. Okay, so it's going to paste me back where I was at. So now I've eliminated, I've cut myself out of the background here. Okay, so I can always turn that off and I can turn that back on, and it's going to just place me back on top. Okay, you can see a little white outline right there from where the cut was. It's probably like a pixel width, opening. So maybe something got nudged. If I activate this layer, then it's gone. Okay, and so, but that's okay. I'll leave it there for right now. All right, so now I'm on this layer. Okay, I'm going to rename that layer. I double-clicked it, and I'm going to rename it Self. Okay, I'm going to rename this layer. I'm going to call this Cut Background. Okay, just so that way I know the difference. Now I'm going to come back to the Self layer. Now I can put filters on myself. Okay, so just starting off, let's look. Let's see what a 3D generate bumpy map does. I have no clue. And it's doing something, and it's bringing up some options, and I'm not sure what's going on. That's kind of interesting. Let's go to there, invert height. Oh, different. Don't like that. Cancel. Okay, so that appears to affect the entire, the entire, area, even though it's like it's transparent. So not a fan of that. So let's go back. We're going to step backwards to make sure that that did not activate. We're going to get rid of that. So now I'm going to go to, but I saw that it did something. So I'm going to go to blur. We're going to do a Gaussian blur. Okay, zoom out of the picture. Okay, I've got preview turned on. The nice thing about having preview turned on is that you can see what you're doing. Okay, so if I turn preview off, then over here I can't see, I can just see over here. So it just kind of helps. So I kind of blur in myself. I'm seeing here, because of where I cut, is that I've got just a little bit of a line. So either I'm going to have to nudge myself over, or I'm going to have to activate that. So let's go ahead and click OK on that. Let's activate this. Okay, when I activate this background, okay, then it takes away that spot. So I can make myself blurry. So maybe I'm photoshopping something and I want to protect the innocent or the guilty in a photo. So I can put a Gaussian blur on their face, so that way it's like they can't really be seen. Okay, so there we go, but I don't want that, so I can either undo, or I could have stepped backwards. All right, let's go back and let's look at another filter. Okay, we have some distort, so we can put a graphic distortion on there. Now, my image is over here, okay, so I can't see it, so I'm going to change the view to 12%. Nope, not enough. I'm going to change it to 6. Okay, there, I can see a little bit better. Okay, so I've got my choices on how do I want to put the ripples on. Let's go ahead and leave it big, so that way we can see what it does. It goes up to 999%. Okay, it looks like it puts some dots on there, so maybe little ripples. Interesting. Step backwards, either edit undo or edit step backwards. Let's go to Pixelate. We'll put some dust and scratches. Okay, let's change the view down so I can see what's going on. There we go. Let's see, pixel radius. Let's change that. And let's change this threshold level. Oh, looks like it gives me boogers. Nice. And now the boogers are gone. And well, it looks like, I mean, you can see that it's doing something. Yeah. So it's doing something. Click OK. Yeah, so it did change the image some. So edit undo. Let's see, we got render, we got flame. Let's see the flame. Oh, nope, didn't. Okay, so for flame, apparently you got to select a path. So let's select a path. So we will go click, 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 click. So we have a path now. So path is a targeted area. And where were we? Render, flame. Nope, it didn't like that. Okay. We'll have to learn about flame later. There may be something where you got to use a left click and then an Alt key to select an area. So we'll work with that later. Halftone, okay, so we can do halftones, we can crystallize. That didn't do anything. Edit, well, or if it did, it didn't do it enough to show. Okay, so turn ourselves into mosaics. Okay, it didn't really do a whole lot. that we saw. Okay, let's go here. Let's look at the filter gallery. Okay, so in the filter gallery, it's a little bit different than the other filters. Okay, so the filter gallery is a little bit more specific. We want to fit on screen. Not what I wanted. Not what I wanted. Not fit in view. Fit in view. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to start up here at the top. We're going to close this. Okay, so we just have different filter effects that we can do, and it's got slider bars. So I'm going to outline myself with colored pencils, and I can change all of the artwork for that. I can just choose different effects. I can change the details, change the different options. So and so you just have all these different effects. Okay, plastic wrap, I've used this one before. Oh, look, another booger. And so I like plastic wrap. And so poster edges, I've used poster edges before. Let's go ahead and we'll leave poster edges on. There you go. Okay, so we'll turn poster edges on. So it kind of gives it a surreal look. There was a movie a couple of years ago, I forgot what it was called, that had that guy that was in John Wick. Forgot what his name is. John Wick. And but they did it in this type of effect. And so now over here you notice is that it doesn't show me what was done on the file, to where like if I add an effect, okay, is that it shows me the effect. All right, and see, now I can even put a stroke around myself. And so, so you can do that. And you can turn that on and off. But once you put it on the layer, you're stuck with it on the layer. Let's do a right click. Can we eliminate that? It doesn't pop out at me there. So we go back up here and we go to edit, step backwards. There we go. Edit, step backwards. And you can edit step backwards about 30 times, I think. And so there we go. All right. Okay, but with the filter, and you can put filter on top of filter on top of filter. Back to the filter gallery. We got brushes. Let's go back here, right click, fit in view. So you can put different filters on top. You got, here's one we can make it look like we're looking through glass. Put a ripple, diffuse. Okay, so we do sketch. I think this will change it to, with the sketch, is that it's going to use as your primary and secondary color. It's going to use the colors that are coming off of your palette, so your foreground and your background color. So you need to pay attention to what you got. I actually like that. That looks pretty good. So we're going to click OK on that. And so, well, it's not showing up here because of the contrast in colors. And so, but that kind of looks a little, I don't know, it looks interesting. I like that. So maybe if you're creating some sort of graphic artwork and you're trying to highlight, you can put it like a filter effect like that. Okay, even though I like that, but we're going to step backwards. And then filter gallery. Let's see what else we got. Those are sketches. We got some stylized. Let's put some neon on me. Okay, and let's adjust. It's not popping as much as I would like for it to pop. So, so even though it's groovy, but it's not as groovy as I was hoping it would be. We can do a crackalure. Okay, so it like puts little cracks in between. You can adjust your crack spacing. And so it's almost like it's doing like some sort of oil-based painting thing. Put a grain on it, mosaic tiles. You can make it look like it's stained glass, texture. And again, you can change all the amount of detail. Okay, and click OK on that. Okay, so we can do that to make it kind of cool. So nowhere close to what they did here. And so, but again, this is somebody that was incredibly talented, and I am just your awesome teacher. All right, so put some effects on yourself. Cut yourself out, type your name on it, and let's see, make it bigger so we can read it. Why is it not popping up? Let's make it a brighter color, make it stand out. Did I not type? Maybe I missed the, there we go. No, it's just big. So let's go to 200. There we go. Squishy, squishy. All right. And then we're going to go to File. We're going to save our project. We're going to call it, let's call it your class period hyphen your last name hyphen your first name hyphen. Let's call it self-filtered. Okay, self-filtered. And then let's file export as. You can do a quick export as PNG. Make sure it says PNG. Okay, there it is. And we're going to say export all. And then let's call it your class period hyphen your last name hyphen your first name hyphen the self-filtered as a PNG. And let's upload that. All right, good job. Ask if you got questions.